Alright guys, so I could just imagine the pressures on the writer-director as they approach the President of the United States. And this is how the conversation must have went. Mr. President, I'd love to make a movie about the first date you had with your wife. And then President Obama's like, okay. And then the writer-director's like, tell me everything you know. Anyway, hey there guys, what's up, what's going on? It is Autobot Mike 18 here, back with another movie review. Guys, I saw this film last night. I did a double feature. I watched this film first. I'm going to talk about it shortly. And I also watched Don't Breathe right after. Check out my movie review for Don't Breathe, currently on my channel. I reviewed it and watched that last night. I saw this last night, wanted to sleep on this one and think about it, let some of it sink in. It's a much smaller film than Don't Breathe. But I luckily got a chance to see it. And when I heard that this movie was actually a thing, I definitely wanted to go see it. Guys, in this video, I'm going to be reviewing Southside With You. Barack Obama, Michelle Obama. There you go. Guys, Southside With You is a movie that I just found out about a week before it was supposed to come out. No, seriously, I was in the theater watching Indignation, and the trailers were playing. I was on my phone, I wasn't really paying attention, and the trailer for this movie pops up, and I see this young woman, and she's talking to her father, I'm guessing, and she's about to go out, and he's like, ooh, who are you going out with? And she's like, it's not a date or anything, but I'm going to a meeting or an event with Barack Obama. And I'm paraphrasing, of course, but she says Barack Obama's name in the trailer, and the father just laughs, and I looked up and I was like, what? And then I just went back to my phone. I was like, okay, she just made a joke about Obama, I guess. I had no idea what this movie was about. And then I watched the rest of the trailer, and it says, and it finally clicks in my head, holy crap, they're playing Barack and Michelle Obama at a young age. I didn't realize it at first, and when I realized it, I had like a big epiphany. So when I saw this trailer at first, I was like, wow, this could be really ridiculous. But then I started thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? That's actually kind of cool. Like, that's an interesting concept. They're taking a non-fictional approach at the first date between Michelle and Barack Obama. So I was immediately set for it, and I wanted to see it. And luckily, this film got a wide-ish release. Not a huge wide release, but it came to theaters that normally don't get small movies like this. So I was actually pretty surprised. Nevertheless, I sought out this movie, and I'll give you my thoughts on it. So guys, the premise of Southside With You. How else can I describe this movie other than saying it's the summer of 1989, and we focus on a young Barack Obama and a young Michelle Robinson. Michelle Robinson is played by Tika Sumpter, if I'm saying her name correctly. Yes, Tika Sumpter, and Barack Obama is played by Parker Sawyers. And at the time, Barack Obama was working, he was doing like a summer job at this like law firm type thing, and Michelle Obama was more or less his like associate, or so he asked her to go to this community event with him somewhere in Chicago, and they end up spending the day together. Though when they first meet, Michelle Robinson is like, nope, this is not a date, this can't be a date, nope, can't have this. I'm working with you, this would be unprofessional, can't have this be a date. And it becomes the first date, and the rest is set in history. These two end up marrying. They have 2 children, and now they are 2 of the most important people in America. Future. Don't you love it? Don't you just love the past and like how this could be one thing that they become the most powerful couple in America? It's just awesome. So guys, yeah, Southside With You. That's the essential premise of this movie. And I want to immediately just preface any of you going into this movie thinking, okay, so this is a biography on Michelle and Barack Obama's relationship. You know, how they met. It's going to show how they met for a good majority of the movie. Then it's just going to show their dating life and everything. And I guess how they got married and everything. And maybe it'll even tie into Barack Obama's political life and how he got into politics and everything. And how he eventually became first African-American president of the United States. I want to caution you all right now, do not think that going into this movie. Because Southside With You literally starts with these 2 characters getting ready to meet each other, and it ends when Barack Obama drops Michelle Robinson at home. That's it. That is, and I'm not really spoiling it, I'm just saying that, look, This is the first date that they had, and that's what's being portrayed in this film. That is it. There's nothing in the credits that says, look, these two end up getting married. He went on to do this and do that and become the president and blah, blah, blah. Michelle Robinson went on to, do this and that, and, now they're president. No, it's literally, it begins and ends with them within the span of one day. And I love that with this movie. And just ultimately, in general, I really had a good time with this movie because it's contained. It knows what it wants to be. It knows what it wants to say. It knows what story it wants to tell, and it doesn't try to be something bigger. Its main focus is on these two characters, how they get to know each other, how they interact with each other, what each of them are feeling, what their viewpoints are, what their future plans are, and it tackles all of those issues. And we get an idea of who these people are as people, who these characters are as people, and that's literally it. And I love that this movie has that small of a focus, and that's the main job of this movie to do, is to just show us what happens on this date between these two people. That's it. I love that. I love how we don't involve any other characters. There's no other giant subplot going on. There's no hefty dramatic tension. It's literally just a quiet, small, contained movie that is sweet, charming, funny. Both of these people have a good sense of humor, and it's kind of romantic and sweet and endearing, and I really love that about Southside With You, and that's all it's trying to be, and that's why I think this is a really interesting movie. That said, is it as fascinating as, I don't know, I don't know why I just thought of Titanic. Is it as big of a love story as Titanic? No. Does it have that typical 3-act structure, like, oh, here's a problem, here's another problem, I'm gonna throw another problem at this protagonist's way? No, it's literally just a date movie, and I like these types of movies. I like these types of small movies that don't need to have extra substance happening in the plot just to make things exciting. It's just a calm and quiet look at how these two meet, or how these two interact with each other, and how they grow closer to each other as this date unfolds. And it's also a look at what makes these two their own individual selves, and that's what I really loved about Southside With You. Let's get into the characters really quick, because this definitely is a character piece if you look at it that way. And I think these characters, both of them, are very well fleshed out and very well defined, and by the time we spend with them in this movie, you're like, okay, I understand what type of person Barack Obama is, or what type of person Michelle Obama is. You get it as you're watching this movie. Just starting off, let's start off with Barack Obama, of course. And of course, that's the other thing that's really important with this movie. These actors have to really nail these performances to a T. That's the one thing that's tough about a realistic type of movie like this. You're portraying actual people, so I think it's ultimately harder to nail those mannerisms and to nail that personality as opposed to doing someone who's just completely original, because you can sort of think of your own way to portray that a character in a screenplay that's for an original movie that has no source material or anything. This movie has source material, and for that reason, it's important that you nail every certain aspect of that character you're portraying. That said, I think that Tika Sumpter and, I'm forgetting this guy's name, Parker Sawyer, I think they both did a phenomenal job in this movie. I thought Parker Sawyer killed it as Barack Obama in this movie. They may not look exactly alike like Barack and Michelle really do, or how I bet they did when they were in their late 20s in the 1980s. But I bought it for this movie. I bought it because I think they captured the personality and the charm very well. Barack Obama, there is one scene in this movie. It's set in a church. It's the whole community event thing that they wanted to go to in the first place, that he asked her to accompany him with. And he's just has, I swear, there's got to be about a 5-minute speech scene where he's just giving this really rousing speech to these church members, these members of this organization who want an injustice to be realized, essentially, in their community. And it's really brilliant. It's just an amazing, touching moment. And I got really, roused up inside. I got, riled up. I was like, okay, I want to do something, I want to do something now. I want to get involved somehow. It really captured just what an elegantly prepared and really inspiring man that Barack Obama really is when it comes to, you know, how he speaks and how he presents himself. So I think that they nailed that. Parker Sawyers nailed him brilliantly. That's the thing. I keep looking at their names. I keep forgetting their names. These two actors are really good. Look out for them. They're good actors. Tika Sumpter, I think, is also really, really good in this movie. Again, I haven't seen these two anywhere, but I really love that aspect of that she nailed pretty much so of Michelle Robinson's side. Michelle Obama currently, she's very outgoing, and I got that with her character in this movie. But in this movie, in her young age, she's really focusing on her future specifically and how difficult it is to be a young black woman in this field where it's very tough for a woman to hold this position that she has, let alone an African American woman. So I really buy into the fact that her character is like, no, I don't want this to be a date. I don't want this to be more than an is. She's really concerned about her future. She's concerned about issues going on within her own family life. And I really bought into it. I think that drew a lot out of her character, and it drew Barack Obama into him appreciating what type of woman she is. And I just really bought their chemistry perfectly in this movie. It was really, really good. The film is executively produced by John Legend, who is probably the biggest known name in the entire movie. And it's written and directed by Richard Tanne, I want to say. Yes, Richard Tanne wrote and directed this movie. I thought he did a great job. I thought the screenplay was very, very well done. The dialogue between these two, it's sharp, it's sweet, it's a little humorous. They both have a really great sense of humor, and they both, the screenplay tackles a lot of interesting topics concerning, there's a lot of different things concerning future goals, race, there's a lot. Holding a high position in authority, inspirational, being inspiring toward another person. It tackles a lot of these issues, and I think it does a really good job of bringing them about in this film, and that's one thing I think that the screenplay really succeeds on. So excellent work. The film is very well, it looks nice, it's well shot, well directed, of course. And above all, something that, again, and I know I keep coming back to this, I love how this film, again, is just a small, contained moment within this grand story of this relationship between Michelle and Barack Obama, and it's literally just their first date, and that's it. It doesn't involve hardly any politics or anything. I think politics are mentioned maybe once in this entire film, and I love that. We don't have to deal with all that political BS, and you guys can, I don't know, say whatever you want about Barack Obama. You're sick of him, whatever. I know we're gonna get rid of him in 2 months, and we're gonna get one of the two monsters that are currently running for president. I'm serious. So I don't want to talk about politics or anything, but say what you want about Barack Obama as a president. As a person, I always found him really charming and definitely really inspiring. I always think the guy is great at making speeches. They nailed that in this movie. They nailed Michelle Obama's character to a T. I think both of the actors are perfect. And yet again, I'm going to say this again because it's the best part of this movie. I love this film as a contained small film just chronicling a day in the life of the Obamas. They go to an art gallery. They go to a community event. They go to a screening of Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing, which I love that film a lot, and I love how that movie was incorporated within this film and how they did a lot of important shit on their first date. Let's just put it at that, guys. So all in all, I think this film really grew on me as it went on. Maybe took a while for me to get going. My only problem with Southside With You, I looked back on it, my only problem I had with the movie was that we're focusing on, we have a really big scene with Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing, and it's kind of like the end of the, the middle part of the film, and something like, there's a beat where, Michelle and Barack, their future relationship is in question, kind of. And then there's silence, essentially, for the rest of the film. There's maybe a few more lines of dialogue, and then the film ends. And what happens in the film, I don't want to spoil it, I don't want to get heavily into it. It's in the trailers, though. It's in the end of the trailers. But I do want to say this much. They grow as close as you'd expect them to grow by the end of this film. And I honestly wanted more dialogue, I think, in the end to really get an idea of where these two characters were emotionally and what brings them as close as they are in the actual end of this movie. That said, I love the last two shots of this film. So I feel that there was something missing in the end of the film. It kind of just like, we have these beat by beat, we're getting a look at these two and this date, and we're getting a look at who they are as people, and then the movie just kind of ends, and that was it. So I kind of wanted more in that last like 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes. That said, guys, I really enjoyed Southside With You. It's a really cute, funny movie. Take your girlfriend to go see it. Girlfriends, take your boyfriend to go see it. I think you'll both enjoy it, and you'll enjoy these portrayals, and you'll enjoy overall just the idea of what happened on this date. So that said, guys, I'm going to give Southside With You an 8.75 out of 10 or a B+. Definitely recommend this movie, guys, when you get a chance to see it. If you do, definitely see it. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. Leave me your thoughts on this movie. If you did get a chance to see it, let me know down below. And as always, guys, thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.